Arkansas, all sports. It's more sports.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Game is wrapping up. Actually, it is finishing up. Arkansas wins it 52-7. Got off to a little bit of a slow start defensively, but then they started cranking after that, and offense roll. We got a couple of guests we need to welcome into the show. Kevin Kelley, head coach at Sheridan High School. We got Chris Gragg, former Razorback tight end, that will be joining us. Guys, welcome into the show. Little instant reaction, real quick. Chris, let me start with you.
All right.
57. Arkansas passed their first test. I know it's the opponent, Alabama A&M, but what do you think?
I think our offense played really, really good. I mean, we put up a lot of yards. I wish we could have connected on a few more of those balls earlier, but I think once everybody settled in, I think everybody got going and it was a good stand. I think Alabama A&M's offense came out really hot. They had a good first 15 plays that they were really prepared for us, but once T. Will got the defense settled in, they played well.
Coach Kelley, your thoughts?
Yeah, basically the same thing. I was a little disappointed they were able to move the ball so easily, but those were scripted plays that they had practiced and worked probably every beginning of every team session. And then on offense, I was really pleased, even though I know we're playing, a team that's going to be a lower level than we are, or than we're used to playing. I was impressed at the overall protection Taylor Green had, and he stood back there and didn't run. I think they've really worked on him staying in the pocket as long as he can without having to get out on the edges, and I thought he did a lot better at that.
Yeah, Chris, I know you like to see those tight ends get involved. Even had a tight end, Postka, catch a touchdown, and Platt had a nice reception, but still looking at it, I think that's the only two catches the tight ends have. This offense, you can get the tight ends involved a lot more than what we saw today.
Yeah, you really can. I don't know if Alabama A&M had something that they were thinking because we had talked so much about getting the tight ends involved that they were kind of planning for it. But those guys keep working, and I know Bobby Petrino's offense, like you say, he has a lot of schemes that can get your tight ends open.
Coach, what about Taylor Green passing the ball today? Sets a career high, 6 touchdowns. I think Brandon Allen is the only Razorback to ever do that in the game, and he did it twice. Granted, we're going to keep it all in perspective with it being Alabama A&M, but Taylor Green with 6 touchdowns. I thought he looked good in the pocket and was looking and surveying the field. What did you see?
Yeah, much better. Last year, we've talked about it on the radio some and different things, but I thought he was looking for Armstrong, and everybody knows that. And he was passing through even progressions where Armstrong might have been second or third. He was going through the first without really looking at it and going to it. Today, I thought he really did, and he had a lot of time, but he took his time, went through the things that Bobby Petrino wanted him to, and I think Bobby Petrino wanted to get him off to a good start and give him confidence. And 6 touchdowns and setting a school record or tying it, I think is going to do that because you can't help but go, okay, I'm the only one that's ever done this besides one dude. I got to feel pretty good about that. So I think that's what Bobby Petrino was trying to do, and I think he probably did that.
You look at it, the final stats, Omega Blake had 7 catches, C.J. Brown 4, Jalen Brown 3, Raylan Sharp 3, Cam Shanks 3. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different receivers, Chris, that had catches today, at least 3 catches. What will that do for the offense and opposing defenses when they know they can't really focus in on one guy?
Right. That's the main thing. Being at this early in the year, you can't really go into defense finding tendencies or where you really want to go with the ball when you're spreading it around like they did today. I just know when Bobby Petrino offenses were good when I was playing. I know one year we had, I think, 4 or 5 guys over 500 yards for the total season, and that's when offenses can get really rolling.
Coach, what do you think of Omega Blake? 7 catches, 121 yards. I think that was all in the first half, actually, and 1 touchdown.
Yeah, I think, you hate to say somebody emerged necessarily in the first game, but like Chris said, there's a lot of value to having a bunch of guys and the balls are distributed evenly. So, because when you rely on one guy like Armstrong, like they did last year, if you take him away, the quarterback doesn't feel comfortable. I think they come out of this and they're like, hey, we've got a lot of guys that we can throw it to, got a lot of guys did a lot of good things. But I did think Omega Blake definitely emerged as the leader out of the group right now, and he just did a lot of things. I think Taylor looked to him. I think Taylor passed up some guys to get him the ball a couple of times, and so maybe that means they've got a connection in practice that we haven't been able to see, or something like that. But it's not bad to have somebody emerge, that's for sure, to give the quarterback a little extra confidence in. But like Chris said, man, I think there's a lot of value to having a lot of guys that can catch the football, and the defense has to worry about them all. They have to cover 52 yards wide instead of half the field.
Did you guys? What did you see defensively from Alabama A&M? Were they trying to stack the box, stop the run? Because you look at it, Arkansas, Taylor Green threw it 31 times in 3 quarters, and Mike Washington 9 carries, Braylon Russell 11 carries. That was your primary. It looked like they were throwing the ball more than running it. Was that because of what the defense was showing?
Well, I know early I kind of picked up that Alabama A&M was trying to play a little bit of man coverage, and I just know from being with Bobby Petrino, he's always going to think his receivers are going to be able to win versus man coverage. I remember the overthrow from Taylor to CJ on that slot fade route. That's one of Bobby Petrino's favorite routes. You can probably remember Joe Adams catching that pass a lot of times back in my day. So anytime you get man coverage, I know Bobby Petrino is going to trust his quarterback and his receivers to win.
Coach, what'd you say?
Yeah, it's the same thing. That's what Bobby Petrino wants to do. And you saw we got that freebie, the one freebie, because they were trying to play some games and they miscommunicated. And slot went one. The guy covering the slot went on a blitz. They didn't cover him up with the free safety. But they ran a lot of one high, and I think they did want to stop the run first and make Taylor throw. But when you see that one high, you're going to want to throw because there's an extra guy down there too, in the box to stop the run. So, but we answered that. And I think that's going to give us a lot of confidence going forward. I think they believe they can run the ball with Washington. I think they believe they can run the ball with Russell. I think they want to show that and demonstrate to our own team that we can throw the football too.
I thought it was pretty impressive from the offense. They scored, the second drive got bogged down and kicked a 51-yard field goal. There's something to be said about that after some of the failures last year in the kicking game. They had a punt in their fourth drive, but then they went on a stretch, 5 straight drives. I'm not counting the one at the end of the half where they banged it off on the kickoff and recovered it and just took a knee, but 5 straight real drives with a touchdown to finish it up with Taylor Green. It seemed like they found a little something that started clicking. What did you see there?
Yeah, I think they really did start clicking. Like you said, they probably got in halftime. They settled down. They probably got their adjustments going, and like you said, he made that connection with Omega Blake early. And then once you get the lead, Bobby Petrino's motto is always run the win. You pass the score, but you run the win. And I think Washington is going to be a very very good running back for us. He's big. He's fast. I like Russell as well. He always likes those big power backs, kind of like Broderick Green, like we had back in the day. So with those two rocking and rolling, and hopefully we can keep these connections going with the receivers.
Until that snap over the head where we lost, 9 yards, we were over 200 yards rushing, over 300 yards passing. I mean, those are powerful numbers. 3-2 is really good. 4-1, not so good. They're like, hey, we got to stop the pass. But when you go 300 and 200, I think that gives defenses a lot to look at. I think that gives the offense a lot of confidence. And that's big for Arkansas early. We need confidence, so we're not hesitant. So the guys out there aren't thinking in the back of their mind, man, this might not be the thing we need to be doing right now. We're not good at this. When you're good at both, you feel comfortable doing both. And I know offensive linemen like to run the ball. They all say they like to run the football. But when you see that ball going down the field and eating up chunks of 20 yards, I don't think linemen care what you're doing. They just want to get back down there and get going again.
I know you guys love offense, but we got to talk about the defense. First drive, and then after that, nothing for Alabama A&M. Arkansas pitches the shutout the rest of the way. Got a couple of turnovers. By the way, they took care of the ball on offense. No turnovers today. Did you see anything different from the defense after that first drive?
Well, just in my opinion, I think like Coach was saying earlier, those first 9, 8, 15 plays are usually scripted. You usually kind of know what defenses are going to do in certain formations, and I think those guys from Alabama A&M just went out and executed. Once, like I say, Coach Williams and the defense settled in and started playing their game, they made some good tackles, and I think they're going to be fine.
Yeah, I agree completely. But The thing, and I hate to be a Debbie Downer on a little bit of this stuff, but I love the big hits. I thought we had some big hits. I think that's intimidating to guys when you see them catching the ball over the middle or even towards the outside, just outside the hashes. Thought we had a lot of guys playing aggressive and big hits. I would have liked to have seen us get a couple more turnovers. I'd like to see us punch the ball out, strip the ball. To be able to win in the SEC, everybody's working on blocking and tackling and throwing and all this kind of stuff, but you don't see anybody like some of the really good teams. Most of the teams in the NFL now are punching and ripping the ball every play. I mean, you got to protect. I think that's something we could gain an advantage on in the SEC and be the best at that. And turnovers win 80% of the time. If you win the game, you win 80%. If you win the turnover battle, you win the game 80% of the time. I would have liked to have seen us in this game be working on that because this is the game to work on whatever you want to, like we did on offense. And we played good, sound defense. I thought the big hits were there. I thought some aggression was there, but I really would have liked to see to try to get more turnovers, to be more aggressive, and to do the things we talked about.
Yeah, I was looking at the official stats. 2 sacks for Arkansas. Of course, 1 on the fumble from Smalls, and then Quincy Rhodes. I was glad to see that. I think Quincy Rhodes out of North Little Rock has a chance to be one of those defensive ends that can put pressure on the quarterback by himself. But guys, I feel like this may be a team with T. Will that they blitz to create pressure. This may be one of those games where I, holding back a little bit. He don't want to show his hand on some of the exotic blitzes he sees. Do you see that's going to be the case? You think they're going to have to blitz to put pressure on the quarterback later on in the season against the SEC teams?
Most likely. Like you say, we only got 2 sacks. One was really on a fumble today. You really wish when you're playing a what's considered a lower scale opponent that you can get some of those big plays on defense. Like Coach Kelley said, wish we had a few more turnovers that we could have picked up. But I think those guys are going to be able to blitz. I think we are very, very deep, deeper than we've ever been in our back end. We got a lot of new faces. And I think those guys are athletic and they are ready to go get the quarterback.
The good thing was they were 1 of 12 on third downs. So that's a good thing. I mean, because they were running some good plays and doing some good things. And that was pretty efficient. So I think you're right, Wes. I don't think they wanted to show a lot of blitzes. I would have probably worked a couple just to get the timing down, just to get the angles when you're stunning and you're sitting alignment and it's in a different gap. He's got to take an angle where your other guy can stun around him. They kind of need to know the spacing of that. But that all said, they probably worked that in practice, felt good about it, didn't want to do it. But when we get into SEC play, I think they're definitely, I mean, we know, we don't have the same level of athletes across the board as they do. We're going to have to be aggressive and take some chances and put some pressure on the quarterback and create some turnovers because they're not just going to happen. You got to go out and work for those things. So I'm anxious. I'm glad we took the step we did today. I love the efficiency on third down. It's hard. I don't care if you're playing a freaking junior high team to hold somebody to 1 out of 12 on third down.
You guys, and I'll start with you, Chris. Do you feel better, the same, or even worse after watching the first game today?
I feel about the same that I did. I figured that we would go into this game and take care of business. Like you said, the offense played strong. The defense started out slow, but like Coach said, they ended up playing some really good sound defense. I think we just got to keep building week in and week out. We're 1-0 now. Try to be 1-0 next week.
Yeah, I hate to hate to copy Chris. I feel the exact same.
Yeah.
As I did before. But like he said, I predicted we would take care of business. I thought we would. I think we did that. Was it exactly like we wanted it to look? But no, it never is. It's never like we want it to look. But at the same time, I liked the fact that I thought we took them seriously. I've seen Razorback teams game 1 over the years not always take this, lower level opponent seriously. And I think we got up and I think we treated it like business. We didn't get too excited and think we were playing Alabama, but at the same time, we were definitely focused and intent with our purpose.
What do you think they learned about themselves today?
I think first off that you got to come out and start fast. Offense did kind of that, but the defense didn't, and it's going to take the whole team, offense, defense, and special teams, to pull out some of those games that we're going to need in the SEC. So you want to come out and start fast, and then you just really want to make plays throughout the game. Like you say, defense try to get turnovers, offense try to get a few more big plays. I know our running game ended up very well, but if we can get some big long runs, I think we'll be good.
I think that we learned that life's a lot easier when you don't have penalties. And we had 3 penalties for 20 yards. I think you learn that life's a lot easier when you don't turn the football over. Because last year we turned it over too many times, and hopefully learning that and going back and looking. I mean, 3rd and 8 turns into 3rd and 13 on a 5-yard penalty. 2nd and 2 turns into 2nd and 7. Those are basically series changers where you're probably going to end up giving up the football if you have those. And like I say, 3 penalties a day. We could live with that. You give me that all year, I'll take it. And we're going to be better on both sides of the football, not giving up free yards on defense and not making 2nd-2, 2nd-7, or 3rd and 8, 3rd and 13. And hopefully we learned today that, man, we were 9 out of 14 on 3rd down. A lot of that was because we weren't giving up free yards.
I was about to say, I think I learned that the offensive line is better today. But then you were talking about the penalties, coach, and 2 of those 3 penalties were on the offensive line. One was on Fernando Cremona holding on the touchdown. But to give them credit, they overcame that adversity and kept the drive alive and went down and scored and made up for that penalty. And I think earlier there was an illegal, like a little false started jump on a Marion Harris for 2 of the 3 penalties. But honestly, I thought the offensive line. I feel better about the offensive line. I know it's Alabama A&M, but there was just so many times there wasn't. They had to come with the blitz to get any kind of pressure on Taylon Green, and it was one of those delayed blitzes that was it really just fooled the running back. But I think the offensive line looked very solid, and I'm encouraged even after one game and the opponent.
Yeah, I'm encouraged too. And we're sitting there talking about the run and this, but when you look down, and we had 200 yards rushing, and they did a good job of the pass blocking too with some delayed blitzes. I really wish Alabama A&M would have brought some more pressure and blitz just to see how we reacted, see if we picked it up. Because last year that hurt us a couple times. They'd walk somebody up an A gap. We weren't protecting A gap. Those were obvious errors that'll cause us problems. But we did take care of business with what they did, running and passing and with the blitz. So, you can't ask for any more than that.
What about next week, Arkansas State? Chris, they're finally playing Arkansas State. You grew up in the state, and for the first time in history, they're playing Arkansas State. What are your thoughts on this finally happening?
I actually think that I'm expecting the same kind of outcome. I think Arkansas should go down.
Chris, you're kind of breaking up a little bit. We'll let Coach talk real quick. May need to call back in. I've lost you altogether. Coach, your thoughts on Arkansas State?
Right as we're sitting here, Arkansas State's having a tough time with Southeast Missouri State. It's 14-10. And I kind of wanted them to blow out Southeast Missouri State so Arkansas would see that. The last thing Arkansas needs to do for the first time Arkansas State plays Arkansas is take them lightly, because Arkansas State is going to be jacked up and ready for this. They've got nothing to lose and everything to gain and all that kind of stuff. But Arkansas is going to be superior across the board, not as much as they were against Southeast Missouri. Against Alabama A&M for sure, but they're going to be superior across the board. So we've got that to fall back on. I just hope that they come out and, after the Arkansas State game, if I still feel the same about Arkansas, I'm going to be a little disappointed, because I think they should go into that game, and that should be a statement game for them, because it's the first time Arkansas has ever played Arkansas State. So hopefully they do that. Hopefully they don't pull any punches. Hopefully they don't say, hey, we're going to hold out on some blitzes. We're going to hold out on some stuff. I think this is a game they've got to win. They got to win handily. They cannot play a close game against Arkansas State if they want to be taken seriously.
All right, Chris is back with us. Let's try it again. Chris, what are your thoughts about finally playing Arkansas State?
I think we'll go out there and take care of business. I know Arkansas State should be a little bit better competition than Alabama A&M. It's going to be kind of a new in-state rivalry, so they can always bring
bring some energy and anticipation to the game. I know Arkansas fans are going to be excited. It's probably going to be one of the last games around the Little Rock area for the Hogs. So I think it's going to be a great atmosphere. I think that the guys will go out there and perform, and Arkansas should come out with a win.
Chris, hey man, we appreciate it. Your audio started busting up. I thank you for taking some time out today and talking some Razorback football. We'll hook back up with you soon and talk a little bit more and talk some South Oak Cliff football too, man. We appreciate you. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
Coach, I did want to talk high school football with you too. Got your first win last night. Took care of the Highway 270 Classic. Beat Whitehall last night. 58-28. Is that right? Top of my head.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah.
Exactly what it was.
You feel good?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big fan of starting the season off with a rivalry game. I mean, you kind of like to play that in the middle or the end or whatever, but because it's already, nerves enough for guys to play. And I think at any level, with a big game starting off, the butterflies are already there. Add the rivalry game, it's even more so. But it does make for an awesome atmosphere to start the season. So, and in those games, it's weird how anything can happen. And Whitehall started off, and they were giving it to us. They were playing well, and they were making us not play well, doing a lot of things. And I look up, and there's 6 minutes left in the second quarter, and we're losing 12-6, or 14-6, or whatever. And I'm just like, goodness gracious, this could go either way at this point. But we finally settled in like Arkansas did, and we're able to start moving the ball on offense. And the good thing about it when it's all over with is we were losing for most of the first half, almost all the first half. And our defense needed to play well to keep us in the game. And they did just that. And so, from a coach's point of view, you don't like it while it's happening, but now that it did happen, I'm glad it did, because that gave a lot of confidence to our defense because they saw our offense was really struggling last night.
Did any scores around the state surprise you last night? I mean, I was honestly surprised to see that Greenwood Bentonville West game. I mean, Greenwood had to score late and stop Bentonville West from taking the lead. Anything catch you off guard last night?
I don't know. The Warren score a little bit caught me off guard. The Greenwood score really didn't. I think Bentonville West, they do a good job up there. I know some of the coaches up there. I think they were ready for this game. I think they were up for this game. And Greenwood, I've been in that spot before. They just cruise along and beat people. And it's hard for them to get up for certain games, and everybody gets up against them. So that kind of stuff can always sneak up on you. But they did do what Greenwood does. They did what champions do, and they ended up winning the game in the end. So that really didn't surprise me, although I could see why it surprised a lot of people around the state. But the Benton Bryant score surprised me a little bit. I mean, I know Bryant's good. I just know that Benton's well coached, has got a heck of a team, and they've been keeping that game really close. I think last year in the fourth quarter they were leading at one point. So that game surprised me a little bit as well. And Rogers North Little Rock surprised me a little bit. I thought North Little Rock, Bobby Bolden does a good job. I thought he was going to give them a run for their money. Although Rogers is a semifinal team from last year in 7A, so maybe that one shouldn't have.
Is Springdale down a little bit? I was so happy for Central and to get that win last night. Is that a good win? Well, anytime
any win's a good yeah.
Anytime when you're rebuilding, that's a good win.
Yeah. Springdale's been down for a while, and they've struggled. And I would have if Oakland offered a line on or Bet Saracen offered a line on that game, I would have taken Central. And so I think they did what they were supposed to. But I saw some of the highlights of it. I thought they did some really good things. I thought they looked sharp. I thought they looked more crisp than I've seen them in the past few years. So I think they're ready to turn a corner and start an upswing for sure.
How about Catholic and Coach Cochran? You're down 20-7 in the second half. Actually, it was 14-0. Got a pick six, made it 14-7. Then Texarkana scored. It was 27. Then they come back and score, win it. Last play of the game. What's that do for a team when you win like that, 21-20?
The cool thing for Catholic is, and they're in our conference. Last year they were down to us by 12 points with like 8 minutes left, and they came back and beat us with 17 seconds left. So call it a Hail Mary of their own doing. But those guys keep battling. Coach Cochran has them battle. They don't get there's things you can do as a coach to not to get your team to not get down when they're down. And he did a great job of that last year, I thought, especially in his first year. And then I thought uh, he did a great job last night doing the same thing. I watched the end of that game, and they just keep battling and they're calm, cool, and collected, and that's going to carry you a long ways. But man, if I felt bad I wanted Catholic to win because I pull for our conference, but much to some of my coaches' disbelief, they pull against everybody that we play, but I felt terrible for Texarkana. You play that whole game, and then that kid from Catholic just ripped the ball away from that Texarkana kid, and that's just a tough way to go down.
How about Sylvan Hills? 20-game losing streak Thursday night, 2-point conversion, 5 seconds to go, and they get the stop. Technically, well, it's the stop. That's what we called on the field. Replay showed it may have been a fumble and recovery in the end zone, but anyway, they win, and the celebration for those kids on the sideline, man, it was like they won a playoff game. And look, I thought it was awesome because they haven't won in 20. You have to go back 2 years, more than 2 years. That's cool.
You have to go back 3 years to get a win.
Yeah.
You know what? I watched the game. Everybody live streams their game just about now. I watched the game, and everybody that knows Mark Kelley knew that when he goes there, they're going to be better on offense. They're going to do some good things. I thought they showed a lot of good things and did a lot of good things, but the excitement with which they did it, the kids believed before the game that they were going to win, and I don't know that they've had that. And so he's got them believing before they ever started, and that makes it a little easier to win. But it was an exciting game. Brian Moffitt does a good job at Maumelle, and if you just like watching football games, that was an exciting game to watch and a fun one. Like you said, comes down to the last second. On the last thing, I'll clarify for you. The new rule in the AAA is if you fumble the ball into the end zone, on 4th down, I don't know about on a 2-point conversion. It comes back to the spot. On a 2-point conversion, I think the player would have had to recover his own fumble if the fumble did not happen in the end zone. Does that make sense?
No, but the replay, watching it from the end zone view, from behind the play, it looked like when the ball came loose and fell down, it landed on the goal line. And so that's what made me wonder the rule, because it hit on the goal line, kind of rolled into the end zone, and was recovered.
Yeah, but where the point was what matters is where did the ball come loose for him? Was the ball touching the goal line vertically when he had the ball in his hand before he fumbled? And that's what's important. Either way, like you said, doesn't really matter what we think, but it was really, really cool to see those kids get so excited, like you said. But I love the fact that they believed it. Maybe there's a coach's perspective, but I love the fact that I saw the belief before they ever got to the win. And that's an important part.
You got a tough one this week.
Yeah, we play Lakeside this week, and Lake Hamilton's a tough football team. That they're a playoff team in the West, and did so last year. That's a tough rivalry game. We always get that game on film. We watched last year. I think it was a 2 or 3 point game, decided at the very end in the first quarter last night at the end of the Lake Hamilton game. It's 14-14. It's tied up, and then Lakeside just took over and ended up, I think, being 56-20. I think they've got a couple of hog commits on the offensive line. I know they do one, and they probably should have two. And but man, their running back, their running back last year was awesome, and we were glad he was gone. And dang, his younger brother looks like a twin, and it's like, oh my goodness, we got to tackle this guy again. And last year we hung with them right before the half, and then they blew it open in the second half. So we definitely have our work cut out for us. Coach Rock's got them doing amazing things over there. They're believing, and they do a lot of good things on defense too. He does a great job on the defensive side of the ball. I think they confuse Lake Hamilton sometimes. I think they confused us a lot last year. So, we've got to get our crap together if we're going to have a chance to beat these guys.
I'm just thinking, because you got an 2 offensive lineman commitments to the University of Arkansas playing in that game. Arkansas will be in Little Rock because they're playing at War Memorial Stadium against Arkansas State. You should have some coaches. I bet there's some coaches, maybe even Coach Pittman at your game Friday night.
If they're not, they probably should be, because they probably want to get, I watch both those guys. Of course, I watch my guy every day, Bradley Sturdivant, and I watch their kid on film, and I'm like, okay, they need to land that kid too. And I think they need to land both those guys. I think they need to land my right tackle, Ethan Cowden, as well. I think he's as good as Bradley Sturdivant. So there's 3 SEC linemen in that game. I really believe that. So I think they need to be down there and make their appearance. And I saw a conversation that DJ was having about, do they need to build the old relations like they did with Little Rock Central, maybe with Central Arkansas again? And I think they do. And I'm biased because I'm in Central Arkansas, and I think there's a lot of talent here. I think the coaching continues to get better and better. And I remember when Arkansas was solid. They had relationships with Central Arkansas coaches, but not just the coaches, the schools, the kids, and we're drawing from there. So I want to see them land these guys. I want to see them offer my kid because I think he's an SEC football player, and I think he's just as good as the other 2. That's Ethan Cowden, our right tackle. And it's their decision. I'm not pushing them to do it, but I just think they should. I think somebody needs to be there watching because I promise you this: throughout our season, there's going to be guys from Ole Miss, from Alabama, from LSU doing that. And I don't want to see another kid like the kid from Marion went to LSU. I don't want to see us miss out on another offensive lineman because, as we know, those are very, very valuable in what we're going to do on offense with the University of Arkansas.
Yeah, I saw where the Marion lineman, Carius Kern was running with the first team during fall camp. Now, he had an injury, and I hadn't turned it over to the LSU game yet. I don't know if he's playing, but he was a monster at Marion. How about your running back, Zay? How did he look last night? I know he's got offers, Ole Miss, North Carolina. Is Arkansas talking to him, looking, watching?
I don't know. They come down. They've come down a couple times in the spring, and when they did, they visited with them, but nothing nothing yet. And to each his own. I think they're missing out on. He's the best. I mean, he's the most electric player I've ever seen in person. Like, besides maybe Barry Sanders, and that sounds insane. And I saw Barry Sanders in person. But Isaiah last night, he's bigger, he's stronger. He knocked off like 7/10 of a second in his 100. And he is unbelievably fast and quick, and he can catch the ball. He can do a million things with the ball. The only thing he can't do well is throw the ball. I'm working on that a little bit so we can get some, But last night he had 15 carries for 160 something yards. He caught 3 passes for 67 yards. He had 4 touchdowns, and he played about a half. And so he was up for another 400-yard game if he play. He was on pace for that definitely if he plays the full game. So that said, there's a lot of talent that's going to be in that game. A lot of kids they could see. I hope Arkansas is there. And if they're not, it is what it is. They've got plenty of opportunities to see and show that they want those guys or care about them or are looking at them or whatever. But it ought to be a game definitely. If you're a Arkansas fan, to have those 2 kids playing, to get to see them live is always fun. To say I saw that kid in a real game.
There you go. There's make your plans for Friday night. A big one down in Sheridan and Lakeside. All right, Coach, final thoughts as we get out of here since we were just talking about the Razorbacks. We'll wrap it up. 52-7, your final score over Alabama A&M. Taylon Green, I'm sure, is going to be the headline because of the 6 touchdown passes, a career high for him, and just a fantastic start. When you even look at his final totals, he is 24 of 31. I mean, 7 incompletions. That's a great ratio, 322 yards. Do you feel like Taylon Green, we saw him take another step, year 2 being more comfortable in the Bobby Petrino offense?
Yeah, I mean, so far, as of today, definitely so. But I think he will. I've said all year, all summer, I think he's going to take a big step this year. I think the second year in a system is going to be good, not just a system. He's going to know it more. He made some mistakes last year. There were running backs. He let them line up on the wrong side to start the play. They had to run in front of him to get to the side they needed to block. That messes you up as a quarterback. Those little things are big. We saw him make some mistakes on some 4th and 1s and 3rd and 1s last year. We had a one-guy route, and he didn't know which side it was running to. Those mistakes go away. I knew he was going to be I know he's going to be a much better player at second year, and I think he's going to understand what Bobby Petrino wants from him, and I think Bobby Petrino understands what he needs to ask more of Taylon Green. Sometimes when you ask a kid a question, "Do you understand this play?" They want to say yes, sir, because they're scared to say no, sir, even if they don't understand. In year 2, those things go away, and I'm hoping that's the case because I think Arkansas is. I really think they could win 8 games, maybe 9 games this year, and if things go right, and if they just won't turn the ball over. I mean, we won 7 last year, and we turned the ball over a bazillion times. It seemed like, and so if we do take away those things, I Taylon Green's the first guy that controls that. So I'm excited about it. Our defense was solid without blitzing. I'm excited about the way it started. I want to see another giant step next week against Arkansas State. And that tells me they have the ability to control the emotion and the situation involved because it's going to be an emotional game. I'm jacked that we're playing Arkansas State. I think that is great for the state, but I think it helps them in SEC play too, not for the talent level, but for the situation, the emotion, and the amount that it's going to mean to the program.
Yeah, it's a lot better than playing some other Sun Belt team, a Louisiana Monroe or Troy, or take your pick of Sun Belt team. If you're going to play a Sun Belt team, play A-State, and it's going to have a whole different meaning and a whole different environment. Coach,
Yeah, for sure.
Great stuff. Best of luck this week, and we'll catch up with you soon. Talk some more sports with you.
Hey, thank you. Good luck. Love your show, and I'll do anything I can to help you.
I appreciate you. You're a true friend. Thank you, Coach. Kevin Kelley joining us. I want to also thank Gwatney Chevrolet, another true friend. Gwatney Chevrolet, it's Labor Day weekend, and they have some big sales going on there. $14,000 off Silverados. The Chevy Trax, one of their hot-selling vehicles out of Gwatney Chevrolet. They got those under $20,000 right now. Great financing rates. Go to the website, GwatneyChevrolet.com. Take a look at all the deals I'm telling you about. Then go to the James Street exit in Jacksonville. Take advantage of the Labor Day sale today, Monday. They'll be there on Labor Day. So if you have the day off, need a new vehicle, head on out to the James Street exit in Jacksonville and check out the website, GwatneyChevrolet.com. We're going to take tomorrow off, but I will do a Labor Day show. We will all gather back here Monday night and talk a little Razorbacks football, Arkansas sports, high school sports. Got to name a high school football team of the week. I'm going to post that question on Twitter and on social media tomorrow and start taking some votes and some suggestions on who should be the team of the week. And off the top of my head, I got to look at the Catholic Rockets and what they did in their comeback, or Sylvan Hills. What a way to get their first win of the season, and the first win after losing 20 straight games. If you got some nominees, look for that question on social media tomorrow, and we'll talk about that Monday on More Sports. The first one in the books. It's going to be a lot of fun. The first of many, many more shows to come. Thank you for watching. We'll see you back here on Monday.
All Arkansas, all sports. It's More Sports.